All right, the first thing that is going to be on your test is anything dealing with I. So it's your imaginary number. So a few examples that you may have is, remember, if you have a negative underneath the radical, we're going to simplify that. So it's going to be I, because the negative comes out to an I, and then you have 24, which I'm going to break that down. And so I've got a pair. So my answer is going to be 2I square root of 6. That's your answer. Now, also remember, any operations dealing with I, you treat it just like a normal variable. So I'm going to add like terms. What's 3 plus 5? 8. What's I minus 2I? Negative I. So my answer is going to be 8 minus I. Okay? Another type problem is you might have to do the full method. Okay? So here's an example of us doing the full method. All right? 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 3i is 9i. Negative, that's going to be negative 8i. And then I have negative 6i squared. Okay, now you're not done. You have to look at this problem and say, okay, what do I need to simplify? Well, the first thing is that this I squared is really what? A negative 1. So a negative times a negative is going to give you a positive. So that's why that's positive 6. So 12 plus 6 is 18. And then 9i minus 8i is 1i. So my answer is 18 plus I. Okay, so just remember that. All right, next, if another example that we may have is 2 plus I over 3 minus 2i. Okay, what's wrong with this problem? I cannot have I in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by its conjugate. 3 plus 2i over 3 plus 2i. So we're going to multiply. Okay, so I got to do the full method. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2i is 4i plus 3i plus 2i squared over. Okay, now I have the difference of two squares. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 4i squared. Because remember, the difference of two squares, I do not have to multiply the two middle terms. Okay, now looking at this problem, first I'm going to take care of the top. There's an I squared. What happens when you have an I squared? It's really negative 1. So 2 times negative 1 is going to give you negative 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. And then 4i plus 3i is 7i over. Now, on the bottom, there's an I squared. So what is I squared? It's negative 1. So a negative 4 times the negative 1 is going to give you a positive 4. So 9 plus 4 is 13. So I have 4 plus 7i over 13. And that's your answer. If you have I in the denominator, then you've got to fix it, okay? Because it will be counted wrong. All right, next, don't forget when you're simplifying with the i's, I to the 0 is 1. I to the 1 is simply I. I squared is equal to negative 1. I cubed is equal to negative I, and that is it. So there's your pattern, okay? So with that being said, if you have I to the 27th, well, 4 will go into 27 with the remainder of 3. So that's really I cubed. And then which one of these? I cubed is negative I, so your answer is negative I. There's your answer. Okay? Now, the next thing. this is what several of you have forgotten. So I want to go over this very, very carefully. First, I'm going to write an equation, y equals x squared minus 4x minus 10. All right, this is a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. Okay, and with that being said, then you know that you're going to graph a parabola. Do not give me a line. It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. Now, because the x squared is positive, in this case, it's going to be this one, okay? Now, from here, the y-intercept, remember, the y-intercept is going to be C. So that's 10 because this is A, B, C. So you're going to write your answer, 0 and negative 10. That's the y-intercept. Now, for the vertex, you're going to have this formula, x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, and I'm going to have the formula written on the board so you don't have to memorize it. So you have x equals negative 4. So you have negative 4 over 2 times 1, 2 times a. So that's going to give you 2. So you have 2 for x. Now, how do you find the y in the vertex? You're going to plug it in. So you have y equals, and then I'm going to have 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 10. So y equals 4 minus 8 minus 10. So 4 minus 18 is going to give you negative 14. That's the vertex. Okay, that's the vertex. Now, for the axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry is going to be the x in the vertex. They all have x in them. So x equals 2. There's your axis of symmetry. Okay, now, after that, I'm going to ask you, does it have a max or does it have a min? And since our A is positive, our parabola is going up. So our parabola would look something like this, because there's 2, let's see, 2 and negative 10. I'm sorry, 2 and negative 14, sorry. It's going to go through negative 10. We'll say that's negative 10 right there. Okay? So since it's going to have a min, and it's going to be min of whatever the y is in the vertex. So it's going to be min of negative 14. That's that answer. Okay? Your domain is always going to be all real numbers. Okay? And then your range is going to be, since you have a min, it's going up, y is going to be greater or equal to negative 14. Okay? All of these answers are from this one problem. And the only algebra that you do is this little bit to find the vertex. Everything else you're getting from the actual answers. Okay? And the only thing that the parabola is going down is if A is negative. All right. Another thing that you're going to have to do on tomorrow's test, okay? I'm going to give you 2 zeros, 1/2 and 3, and you've got to write an equation. I'm going to give you the roots, and you've got to write the equation. So the first thing you're going to do, x minus 1/2 times x minus 3 equals 0. Remember, you add the parentheses, change the signs. So now I'm going to do the distributive property. X squared minus 1/2 x minus 3x plus 3 over 2 equals 0. Now, I can't add these together unless they're like terms. X squared minus 1/2 minus 6 over 2x plus 3 over 2 equals 0. So x squared minus 7 over 2x plus 3 over 2 equals 0. Now, you can't stop here because you can't have fractions. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 2. So that's going to give me 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. Okay? There you go. All right? Another type problem that you're going to have is x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. And then you're going to have to factor x minus 4 times x plus 3 equals 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0. So x is going to equal to 4 and negative 3. Okay? Then you're going to have some things from chapter 4. You're going to have to find the determinant. You might have to multiply or add or subtract matrices. Now, you can watch this video as many times as possible because it's on Google Classroom for your review. And so go through each part, and if you have any questions, then you can send me an email and I will answer any questions that you may have. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.